I watched her overdose.
This wasn't friendship, it wasn't mentorship, and it sure as hell wasn't love. Walt and Jesse's bond was something far darker. The enduring debate over Walter White's relationship with Jesse Pinkman always circles the same question. Did Walter actually care for Jesse, or was the so-called affection nothing more than a leash disguised as fatherly concern? The answer, as with most things Heisenberg, is complicated, contradictory, and above all, poisoned by ego. Let's begin with the obvious. Walter treated Jesse like garbage. If this was love, then it was the kind usually found in police reports and family court filings.
I watched Jane die.
Allowing Jane to choke to death rather than saving her, poisoning Brock under the guise of strategy, and ultimately handing Jesse over to neo-Nazis, this is not exactly the stuff of greeting cards.
Over and over, helping you find the rice and cigarette. Come on, look how far he'll go.
Add to that the relentless manipulation, the constant gaslighting, and the way Walter belittled Jesse at every opportunity, and the relationship reads less like paternal care and more like a psychological torture manual. And yet, for every act of cruelty, there is a contradictory gesture of protection.
I mean it, based on everything you told us. Paying for your rehab.
Walter saves Jesse's life repeatedly, pays for his rehab, jeopardizes his own standing with Gus Fring to shield him, and even risks open conflict with Gus by mowing down 2 dealers Jesse wanted to kill.
You kill me, you have nothing. You kill Jesse.
When Mike, Gus, Saul, and even Skyler all pressed to eliminate Jesse, Walter refused. He goes to absurd lengths to keep him alive.
Say you want this! Nothing happens until I hear you say it!
At the very end, it is Walter who engineers Jesse's freedom, dying in the process. A monster, yes, but one who died saving the very man he had destroyed. So which is it? A toxic father's warped affection or a sociopath's long con? The truth is, both.
I was good at it.
Walter loved Jesse in the same way he loved his wife and children, conditionally, manipulatively, and always in service of himself. His version of love never elevated the other person. It kept them dependent. He didn't want Jesse to be healthy, independent, or fulfilled. He wanted Jesse to be pliable. To leave Jesse broken was, in Walter's calculus, the safest way to keep him close.
I watched her overdose.
Jane was eliminated not simply because she threatened Jesse's sobriety, but because she threatened Walter's control. Brock's poisoning was less about saving a child than about moving Jesse into position on Walt's chessboard. Every apparent act of sacrifice carried a hidden return on investment. Supporters of Walter's benevolence argue that Jesse too created problems, and indeed, Jesse's incompetence and recklessness were staggering.
Battery's dead.
He left keys in ignitions, botched simple instructions, involved himself with addicts, and nearly cost both of them their lives countless times. He betrayed Walter to Hank, attempted arson on Walt's home, and at one point was prepared to kill him outright. By that measure,
Jesse isn't just some rabid dog.
Walter's patience was superhuman. He could have replaced Jesse with Gail, embraced Gus's offer, and lived out his days as a wealthy chemist. Instead, he threw his entire empire into jeopardy over Jesse Pinkman. This is not the behavior of a man entirely devoid of attachment. Yet, it is telling that every defense of Walter hinges on rationalization. Jane's death, she was bad for Jesse.
No rice and poisoning.
I'm just checking on Brock.
Brock's poisoning, a calculated non-lethal maneuver. The Nazis, well, Jesse had betrayed him, so what did he expect? This is the kind of moral gymnastics reserved for people desperate to prove their favorite antihero wasn't quite so monstrous. The reality is simpler. Walter loved Jesse, but in the same toxic, self-justifying way abusers love their victims. It was love filtered through ego, control, and survival instinct. Love, yes, but the kind that suffocates. What makes their dynamic so compelling is not its purity, but its corruption.
I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot.
Walter never treated anyone with kindness. His wife, his children, his colleagues, all suffered his cruelty. So expecting his affection toward Jesse to be noble is laughable.
Jesse, look at me, son. Wake up.
If anything, Jesse was the closest he came to actual attachment. Unlike Skyler, Jesse worshipped him. Unlike Hank, Jesse deferred to him. Unlike Gus, Jesse could be molded, manipulated, and broken into the perfect surrogate son.
Jesse operates the forklift, not me. That's just one of the many.
Walt needed Jesse because Jesse was the one person in his world more dependent on him than he was on anyone else. And Jesse, for all his moral flashes, was not the helpless victim some portray him to be. He was reckless, weak-willed, and complicit. He could have walked away countless times. He could have taken the money, gone with the vacuum man, or cut ties after Jane's death. Instead, he returned again and again because Walter's abuse carried the twisted appeal of fatherly validation. In Greek myth, Kronos devours his children out of fear they'll surpass him. Walter, similarly, clung to Jesse both as a son and as a potential rival. He nurtured him only to the point where Jesse's independence began to threaten his dominance, then tore him back down.
And another 15 for my partner's pain and suffering.
The transformation of Walter White into Heisenberg is often described as a Jekyll and Hyde act. The decent man fading while the monster takes over. But the treatment of Jesse shows that the monster was always there.
We're gonna walk out of here, okay?
Even in his tenderest acts, paying for rehab, vouching for Jesse, sparing his life, Walter's care was never free of self-interest. He loved Jesse, but he loved control more. When those two instincts clashed, control always won.
I watched her overdose.
In the end, Walter White's relationship with Jesse Pinkman is the perfect distillation of Breaking Bad's central thesis. People are capable of both cruelty and tenderness, and the line between them is paper thin when power and ego get involved. Walter saved Jesse countless times, yes, but he also destroyed him in ways no cartel, cop, or rival ever could. His was a love steeped in abuse, a father who would take a bullet for his son after spending years convincing him he was worthless.
We're just getting started. Nothing stops this train.
It is this contradiction, this blend of affection, manipulation, and brutality that makes the Walter-Jesse dynamic so haunting. Walter White did love Jesse. He just loved himself more. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns where love and ruin collide.